So today I'm going to give you a demonstration on how to transfer your pattern that was created by using your chosen motif onto the surface of your slab container. As far as things that you should already have, so the first step is to make sure that your surface is nice and smooth. And ways that you can create a nice smooth surface is with your rubber rib. Okay, getting the edges all crisp and clean. You can also use a round yellow sponge. You can get this wet with water, and then you can also smooth the surface like so. And you want to make sure that if you have any divots, that those get smoothed out. If you have any rough areas, you use a tool to get those to go away. Here's another tool. This is a metal rib. And metal ribs are nice to use when your clay has lost a little bit of moisture. At this point, your clay should be at the leather hard stage. And the leather hard stage is when the clay has lost some moisture and it's become a little bit more rigid. That means that if I were to try and use my hands and change the shape of it, it's not going to alter. It's going to keep its shape. If I tried to squeeze this and it mushes in, it is not leather hard. It is still in that greenware stage. Leather hard is the second stage. As a reminder, first stage is greenware. Second stage is leather hard. Okay, and we'll talk about the other three during a different demo. All right, so surface is smooth. You have your pattern all prepared. How to cut and glue your pattern together was in a previous video. So you want to have your pattern established on paper. Okay, and to demonstrate this, I am going to take my pattern, line up the bottom edge with the bottom of my slab, and simply place the paper onto the surface. Okay, and then what I have to do is hold it in place. Now what might happen is you might have a gap here. And if you do end up with the gap, it's not a big deal. At the very end, what we'll do is to fill that gap is we'll come up with like a clever phrase. Mine is about cars, and as I look at my pattern, it looks almost as if they're stuck in traffic. So I could come up with some sort of clever phrase or a quote or honk honk, who knows? And then just fill that in there with my best penmanship. So to begin the transfer, you're going to need a ballpoint pen. And the ballpoint pen is just a simple pen that has a ball tip and ink comes out. Check on your surface, just on a scrap paper, making sure that the ink is working. And what you're going to do is you're going to outline everything about your pattern. So right now I'm just going around that bumper, got the headlights, and I'm just applying consistent pressure. I'm not applying anything too drastic or too hard. I'm not going very light, just a consistent pressure, something I would normally do on, say, paper, going back and forth, outlining all of those black lines. It's nice when you can see the ink because that tells you where you have already done the line work. If you don't have a ballpoint pen, a dull pencil will also work. And then you would continue outlining all of your lines until you reach the end, okay? Now I'm going to give you a sneak peek. What is this going to look like when I'm done? So you remove the paper and you should be able to see the lines, the indents that were created when I applied pressure. Okay. Now, after these are bisque fired, we are going to apply a black colorant. And we want that black colorant to stay inside the lines that you've created. These lines are not deep enough, they're not wide enough for that colorant to stay. So what you're going to need to do, you're going to need a ballpoint pen, and it's nice if you can use a dry one. If you find one and it has ink, maybe use one that doesn't have ink. That way, we still have the ones that have ink. But if that's not possible, then you're gonna go ahead, go over, and you're going to recarve the clay. Now, if ink gets inside, if ink transfers, it's not a big deal. It will burn off in the kiln. And you need to make sure, do you see that those, I call them boogers, these crumbs, that they stay away. And you might have to go over it again and again to clean out those lines. This takes patience, it takes focus, but it can be done. My rim up here, rim was not perfect, so hopefully that will help. Getting all those crumbs out, coming back along the headlights. And then I would just continue until I have all of the carving completed. Now, another vocabulary word that we have gone over is the word incising. Incising is just a term for carving. That is what you are doing here. All right, and then you just continue until you have done your entire surface. And I want to show you, this is one that I created with the black colorant inside. So you can see how important it is that your lines are clean, they're as wide as your ballpoint.